everyone! Welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Danielle, the American expat mom of 3 living in Germany. Today, I'm finally back with another sit-down video. I'm going to be finally showing you guys everything I got on the England holiday that was already over a month ago. So I've got quite an assortment of things. I don't even know where to start, to be honest with you. I think we'll just start with some of the random bits. I've got books, I've got cosmetics, vitamins. I love going to England and I love going shopping in England, so I've got quite the assortment of all kinds of things. So let's just go ahead and start with some of the random things. Okay, the first thing I got is pretty funny. So we were at the Mickleham Priory. I don't really know how you say the Mickleham Priory. I've heard people in England say Mickleham Priory, and then I've heard people say Michelham Priory, so I guess it just depends on where you come from in the dialect. Let me know in the comments how you actually say it. But we were at I call it the Mickleham Priory because it's just easier for me to say. There's like a little used shop where you could put donations in to, you know, get some books for like $2 or some toys or something like that. And I came across this map. It's called The Funniest Map of Britain. Great British place names, and this is just hilarious. Oh, I still have I kept the note from our old neighbor the day we got free from quarantine. It's in there. I forgot I put it in there. I'm just gonna go ahead and read you guys some of these place names. It's hilarious, and I noticed it when we were traveling. I saw a lot of funny village names and whatnot, but nothing quite as crazy as some of the names in this book. And you can do like a whole tour with it. Like, hang on the back of the map, you can like mark all of the crazy place names you probably can't see it. It's huge. Hang on a second. Let me just share with you some of my favorites. So I really like Golden Balls, Great Bottom Flash, Slap Bottom, Happy Bottom, Wits End. I think I'll just read one more for you because I feel like I should make a video about this or something funny about it, but Ticklecock Bridge. England is full of like this overly cute cottagey vibe, but then you have like place names like this. It's so hilarious. You guys honestly take the English language to a whole other level. Like when I'm there and I see how into like poetry you guys are and how proud you are of the English language, it like makes me proud, and I love seeing how creative and sometimes outrageous you get with the language. Okay, next up, I really needed a new diary or journal. And I noticed in England, actually, you call diaries like planners. I call a planner, not a diary. I call like what I write in for personal pleasure a diary. So that's a little difference between American and English people, actually. So I got myself what I guess you would call a journal because it's not a diary, it's not a planner. I was on the hunt for this. Like Leia would even like attest how adamant I was to find like the perfect diary. I looked in every bookstore, like Waterstones, like little ones. I've been looking for a diary for a long time, and I wanted to find one in England so bad. So I ended up coming across this one in Tunbridge Wells. It was when we were transitioning from being in the holiday Airbnb to going to the caravan. We stopped in Tunbridge Wells, a little town or little city, and I was like pretty much at the point where I was like, I'm never gonna find like the perfect one. I'm very picky about it. Like I like it to kind of like be like this, like bendy. I know that's weird, it's not always that practical, but I like that feeling. So I wanted that, and then I wanted it to be like simple, not super overdone, and just like different. I don't know, I'm picky. Leia will let you know, she was in like every shop with me, like, this one? I ended up coming across this one in a little shop. It was a personal shop also, and I just really loved how the pages, it's not focusing. I don't know if it's focusing, but it's like there's like a floral design on the pages, and I was just like, this is the one. And there's a little marker, and it's nice and flexible, and I love it. Shall we stick to the theme of books? I got quite a few books. So this one I already read, Braving the Wilderness by Brené Brown. I read another one of her books last year, I want to say, or was it still this year? I can't remember anymore. But it was called The Gift of Imperfections. I really like her work. So Brené Brown is a research professor, and she likes to specialize in studying things like really hard human emotions like vulnerability. This one is primarily about vulnerability, shame, and empathy. I want to say The Gifts of Imperfections was a lot more based around shame, and this one was definitely more about vulnerability. It's called Braving the Wilderness. It's about basically being okay and like comfortable with putting yourself out there and receiving criticism. I have a lot of favorite bits. It's really hard to actually summarize what it's like all about in a nutshell because it goes into lots of different layers. This one was also a lot about belonging, and this has kind of been a big deal for me, more so the last couple years than probably any other time in my life. And for the most part, I'd say like I feel like a very free spirit. Like I don't hold heavy attachments. At least I thought I didn't hold heavy attachments to like where I felt like I belonged. And obviously, like being a foreigner, there's always this like black sheep sort of mentality that comes with the territory, I think. Like I feel like a lot of the times I'm like the black sheep of the family, I'm the black sheep of the area. But I really like this book because there was something I actually really didn't agree with Breen on in her last book, because she really had this like strong need to feel like she belonged somewhere, and like everybody does belong somewhere, and that's like part of the human condition. We need to find our place of belonging, and I didn't really ever really agree with her on that when I read it. But then in this book it really clarifies. The whole book wasn't about that, by the way, but this book really clarified why she felt like that, like gave some backstory as to why belonging was so important to her. And lately I've been going through more phases where I feel like I want to feel like I belong, and I think that's why England is so appealing also to me in a way, is because I feel like I belong there more. I feel less of a black sheep there. I mean, of course, I'm still foreign. Part of me still really likes that. But this book is basically about how she broke free from this, like, I need to find where I belong, to knowing that she belongs anywhere. And it's just so good. Next is the book I'm currently reading, but I'll be completely honest with you, I haven't gotten that far. I've been kind of in like this survival mode. I'm like stressing winter, and I'm like watching the MCU series. I started getting into it. I had no clue about it before, and now I'm completely like watching things more than I am reading. Just being honest with you. Totally turning into a junkie here. Physical intelligence. This is basically how we could observe our body signals, our hormones, and use them to our advantage into, I guess, success. It also talks about like how a lot of people have chemical imbalances and how you can identify those chemical imbalances and how you can bring them more into balance, like exercises you could do, or activities you can do, not always like supplements and stuff like that, just like ways you can use your mind and your body to make you a more balanced human being, which will therefore make you more successful. So I like this book. There's a lot of exercises in it, and sometimes I get annoyed with that because I don't always have the time to do like some of these hardcore exercises. I just want to kind of like read and learn. It's important to do those exercises, but sometimes I feel like some books are just a little bit too demanding, and I'm like, look, I have a lot going on in my life. I don't have time to like do your routine. I just kind of want to like take the bits, the nuggets that like I feel will be of value to me. I don't necessarily want to follow a protocol. So there's a little bit of protocol in there, but I'm finding my way to wiggle around it. Next are books that I haven't started. So I got this while I was in England from Waterstones, The Language of Kindness, a nurse's story. So I actually read a book in German, my first book in German, called I'm a Nurse. It was actually, the title was in English, but the book was in German. And it was really challenging for me to read that book, but I'm really interested. I've been following a lot of nurses and midwives because I've considered going into the profession myself. To be honest, I don't know where I stand on it right now, especially with like how it's been. I just feel like the profession is getting a really bad rep, and I don't know if I like being free. I also like having freedom, and the grasp I'm kind of getting from reading books by nurses is that they feel really like not very valued, and they also feel not very free. So I don't know where I stand, but this is another book I'm going to go ahead and give a go. See how I feel about it. It's got really good reviews from a doctor that I read a book from called This Is Going to Hurt. It's like all about a doctor going to like his journey through medical school, and he kind of went into it because it was like a family thing. He wasn't like that excited about becoming a doctor. I don't think he even works as a doctor anymore, but it was a really interesting book. He ended up becoming a gynecologist. That was his specialty. Next is a book Johannes read actually while we were in England. I'm going to read this probably when I start getting kind of like the winter blues, which I think I'm already getting. It's only October. But this is called Coasting. This is about a woman who decides to run literally across all English coasts, regardless of weather. She doesn't know how to read a map when she starts, which is why else I was so excited to like pick up this book. I actually can't properly read a map. I'm horrible at reading maps. I'm directionally super challenged, but I love traveling and I love just like going for it. So like this book automatically like just seems so exciting to me. It seems like something weird I would do, to be honest, if I wouldn't be like a mom who has like obligations. It seems like something I probably would do. And then she just like puts her face in friends and strangers, and I think it just sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun to read, and Johannes really did enjoy it. He said it started slow, but it got really good later. So I'm really looking forward to this. This video is getting so long already. Okay, so this is The Intelligence Trap by David Robson. And this has been a big topic in our household. This is something that I've been bringing up a lot. I just feel like we live in this age where your claims are not worthy unless they're backed up by data, or unless it's peer reviewed or something like that. And I think that to a certain extent, yeah, it's good to, I guess, have things with claims, but I just feel like it's very limiting. I think that people are getting into this very limited way of thinking, and this book I think is going to be about that, just based off of the gist of reading like a few pages from the beginning and the back. I'll just read you a bit of the back so you get a bit of a gist of what it's about. I feel like this is probably the wildest card of everything that I bought that I'm not sure that I'm gonna like. We assume that smarter people are less prone to error, but greater education and expertise can often amplify our mistakes while rendering us blind to our biases. This is The Intelligence Trap. Last one, a couple of these were used books. This is a used book. This one was kind of pricey for used, but this one has a lot of cool remedies. It's called Doctor Yourself, and I just kind of like glimmed through it, and it just gives you a bunch of very typical problems and then some ideas of like natural remedies to help with like alleviate some of the symptoms and maybe get you on the right track towards healing. So we have, for example, I just opened up to endometriosis. I love all women's health stuff, as you know. There's even like natural birth control methods. Yeah, there is some diet related stuff in here, but a lot of it is just like some remedies, everything from like vitamins to exercise to mindset exercises, some ideas like some blood work to maybe ask for. I just thought that he was pretty right on about a lot of the things that he was recommending in terms of things that I have also seen to be really helpful with some of the conditions that I have been dealing with since my teens. So I'm excited to see what other things he has to offer. I love having these like handbooks around whenever things start to get a little bit off. You know, I can't just like say this is the book I got and then just move on. I have to like tell you the whole story of why I got it. So now let's do vitamins, since we just left off with that. So I didn't get a lot of vitamins. I thought I would because I love Holland & Barrett, but I just got myself a new vitamin D3. Love this one. I got it last year. I got a couple. Nothing is going to focus today, is it? It always wants to focus on my face, that's why. So this is my favorite vitamin D3. It's a spray form, and it tastes like mint. I think that might be why it's my favorite, because it feels like you get a refresher. It's 1,000 international units. I usually do 5,000 international units a day, so I spray 5. And yeah, I'm really happy to have that back. Next up is I do like having some of the medicinal mushrooms in my morning smoothies. Lion's mane is my favorite. This one is really good for mental focus and clarity, and it's really good for neurological problems, and it's really high in antioxidants. Like, these mushrooms are like super high in antioxidants, which I love, and I usually do like a teaspoon, and this brand was really good. It's gone now. This is by Hybrid Herbs, and this was probably my favorite. I like this one better than the one I get here. The one I get here is cheaper, but it clumps. This one was like all soft and really nice. It says USDA organic, so I'm assuming it might be an American one. All right, on to some beauty stuff. This is actually a product that is totally empty. I have used all of it. It has saved my hair. I really do need to go get a trim, but I'm considering growing my hair long again. I'm gonna rebuy this. I don't know, I hope I can purchase it here somehow because it's so good. I can maybe make something like it though if I can't. It's gonna sound kind of gross. It's primarily apple cider vinegar, but there's a lot of herbal infusions like sea buckthorn, aloe, marshmallow, sage, dandelion, calendula. There's just a jam pack full of like great herbs in this thing, and I've been putting it just like on the top of my head and like massaging it in. And a lot of people say like vinegar will ruin and damage your hair. It hasn't been my experience so far. I've seen it like get nicer looking and like it's getting some of its curl back. I was starting to go through a phase where my hair was just getting really straight and I just wasn't liking it. I was kind of thinking it had something to do with my hormones because I wasn't breastfeeding anymore is kind of when it happened. But ever since we've been to England and I got this, my curls are coming back and I really like having my curls. I don't like having straight hair. So it's worked really good for me. So I'm going to keep doing it. I usually do it like twice a week and I just let it like sit while I'm in the bath. Speaking of bath, I really wanted something for the bath we had at the Airbnb. I didn't want to just use what they had because that's kind of mean to use other people's stuff that they bought. So I like this brand, Neil's Yard. They have them everywhere in England, and this is Seaweed and Arnica Bubble Bath. And I really enjoyed it. It's also almost gone, so. Okay, now for some really random, just some homeware stuff. I got a couple of mugs. This one says, it's probably backwards, but it says, I'd rather be in Lewis, which is such a mood for me. And then I got this at England's biggest medieval festival, actually, which was amazing. Oh my gosh, probably one of the biggest hits. This is the Celtic Trinity symbol. It's handmade, and like somebody was selling it at the medieval market. And I thought it was really pretty. I love big mugs for my smoothies, and it's cool. It's got like a little place for your thumb, and it's cool. I really like this. It fits my smoothie just perfectly. Okay, I'm running out of battery here, so I better wrap it up. So this is a magnet I got of some houses in Brighton. And then last but not least, I have to show you Winnie the Pooh. He is so special in this house, isn't he, Leia?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't actually buy him. I was gifted him. So when we went to the caravan, there were all of these little Winnie the Poohs on the back, in the back of the caravan on the main bed. And I ended up cuddling with him and sleeping with him so many nights. Like, I'm not a person to like snuggle with stuffed animals. Never have been, not even when I was a kid. But he is like the perfect shape. So he is super cuddly. And also, while we were there, we realized that we were like staying in the place where Winnie the Pooh was made and where the story was inspired, because it was like all real. And I had no idea. I totally thought Winnie the Pooh was American because like Disney, you know? But Disney just bought the concept, I guess you could say. But yeah, Winnie the Pooh comes from Sussex in a forest called the Ashdown Forest. And it's a beautiful, beautiful place. The author was actually a writer who had to go to the war during World War I. Christopher Robin was real. He was his son, and they went to the countryside to find healing. And Winnie the Pooh was born. That was his newest project. He was going to write about the war, and then he ended up writing a story about a bear who lives in the woods with lots of woodland friends. And his son ended up becoming crazy famous, which was kind of a drama in the end. But There's like a whole movie about it and everything, and we visited like a little cafe where everything was Winnie the Pooh themed, and there was like a little museum of how Winnie the Pooh was created and about the family, and the forest is absolutely beautiful, and I think something as sweet as Winnie the Pooh, I mean, come on, obviously the place had to be magical, so this is really special to me. He came to me like really authentically. I was never really a big Winnie the Pooh person when I was a kid, so this Winnie the Pooh, it's just kind of fun. It's kind of like the story in a way too, actually, because I kind of ended up there by accident. I went there to find healing, and I sure got it, and I also got a sweet Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is pretty much everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and let me know what other videos you would like in the comments. And yeah, I will see you guys all very soon.
Bye.
Bye.